Hello and good evening. Today is 17, if I'm not mistaken, it's 17 or 18 of January 2024. It's a year of the dragon. In 2-3 weeks time there will be Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year for some country. Today's record keeping and to present my new edition of collection slash investment is some of the notes or currency that I recently bought in an auctions or from eBay's. Relatively compared to the fair market price, is still a discount price. So I normally don't bid something that is over the fair market price. Normally is pretty much if it's a good deal, fair price, or even a better deal or cheaper, then I will consider buying one. So at this moment I want to do record keeping of today. As of today, I'll just say it's 18th of January. I would like to put a record on my newest edition of collection. So let's go on the first one. The first collection I bought is a Japanese 5 yen. No date. This is 1930. Based on the condition, I can see there's a crease line here in the middle, and probably there's another one, light one, crossing through here. So there's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 lines. I would say just based on this condition is extremely fine sort of way, but looks very about uncirculated for its note. I'm a Japanese collection, and I made my commitment to collection. I go through more detail in collecting banknotes from Japan, specifically mainland Japan, during the Empire of Japan, not the colonials or colonies like but they call it banana banknotes, banana money in Malaya, or monies from puppet government in China. Those are pretty wide as it is, but does not give me the interest to collect. So my narrowed down for Japanese is Japan mainland currency, specifically used in mainland Japan. So this is one of the collection I bought, and to be honest, for this series, this block with Nippon Genki, Japan Bank, and the condition of using this banknote with the flower, so-called the gouache, orange gouache. This is one of my final piece of 5 yen before we go to a more older version which costs hefty money. Those are like over $500 or $600 kind of range or series. So this series is still considered relatively cheap. I got this for, if I'm not mistaken, about 30 to 40 ringgit. 30 to 40 ringgit. Yep. 30 to 40 ringgit. Next piece is Japan, Empire of Japan, 1 yen. Empire of Japan, 1 yen. 1889, no date, and uses Arabic. This kind of notes, there are actually two types of version. The earlier version is they use more using non Arabic numericals, as you see as like normal numbers. They use Chinese character as the number, or to the Japanese is kanji. They use the kanji numbers. But after that, this is a later version. In 1889, they start using Roman numerical or Arab, sorry, not Roman numerical, is Arabic numerical numbers. You see the block number and the serial number. I see the serial number is very interesting, very nice, although its condition is quite bad. Markings here, fault lines, obviously we can see there are 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. Of course the notes are quite large, and those days they like to keep it in a smaller pockets or in a wallet at that time, or purse for women. So they fold it into really tiny small like this, almost this size, and they keep it in their wallets. So badly folded corners, at least it's not teared, not much pieces are cracked. You get some chip off pieces here, chip off pieces here, sorry, you can't see that, here, here and here. Not here, here and here. This is a chip off like a one part here, and this is just folded. Probably I just unfold a little bit just to spread it out before I put it into my protection, my permanent protection sleeve, and put it in my album, in one of my Japanese album collections. What's so unique that I have to purchase this is very interesting. According to the Japanese catalog, or the guidebook, Japanese guidebook, I normally uses these one, the catalog of the the catalog of Japanese coin and bank notes. So I usually go through all this here to references. See, if I have it, I'll just take it. If I don't have it, this is accidentally. But now I have this one already. This is a reprint, overprint, or this is an overprint. This is a reprint without the original words that used in the mainland. This is to use for overseas, under colony areas, like outside of Japan, a military rule. So if I take, means I have it in my collection, regardless of what other condition. As you can see, different price in yen has different condition. This is fair. This is fair. This is extremely fine, uncirculated, and really uncirculated. I don't read kanji very much, so pardon me if I say it wrong. You can correct me, please. I do still make mistakes here. So some of the notes I have in my collection, I have 200. Of course I don't have this. I have the 200, but I don't have this 1000. Of course, you look at the ridiculous price of it. 600,000 yen for brilliantly uncirculated. 500,000 yen. You know, extremely fine, 330,000 yen. Fine, 240 yen, and fair, 150,000 yen. That's a lot of money, and they are actually I could say they may, because I don't read Japanese much, but I believe this note have two types. One is this, just a regular note. Another one is a revalued of the 1000 yen with a stamp. As you can see, they have put a stamp version. You see some notes here with a stamp here. They'll have different price, but I hope not, because the price they show one. Normally if they have two stamps, it will be like this. This is a regular banknote, which I've already have this one. The bottom one, the 6,500, and the much more valued, more higher value, they are actually have a stamp on top of the corner here of the banknote. Mainly used is to after the Second World War. The Japanese lost the war. They surrendered to the Americans and the Allied forces. Most of the banknotes they reused, they revalued to say that the banknote is genuinely worth how much? Normally 10 yen. So to ensure that, there you have the stamp on it. They'll use stamp. Yeah. Mostly like 10 yen. They'll have another one. Yeah. Right. So mostly this is my guidebook I use. This is a catalog I use. I have 2023. That one's for me to read, but actually the Japanese doesn't go very far different next year to the next year. So I recommend, if people are looking for a catalog book, If you bought already in 2022, probably you just buy the next 2 years later. Probably there will be a new edition one, new banknotes coming in, which this year the Japanese Bank of Japan is going to issue probably in late spring or beginning of summer, June or July. They are going to release a new banknotes. Something like this. I think we have it here. I think we do. Now this is the older versions. This is the current version of the Japanese yen today. This is a commemorative. It's still valid as 2,000 yen, but nobody's going to use it because it, for collectors, is much more like us, like me, is very high value. There, this one. This is the new 10,000 yen, and they're going to release this year 2024. So we've got new 10,000 yen they're going to release. They're going to release a new 5,000 yen, and they're also going to release new 1,000 yen. Probably at the beginning they have two alphabets and two alphabets at the back. They're not going to have the same system that previously they do, is they have a single alphabet and then two alphabets. So a single prefix to a double prefix, probably they're going to eliminate that. But what they're going to include in this new series this year is they're going to have 4 alphabets, 2 at the front, 2 at the back. To me, as a collector, it's a saving grace that I don't need to find so many to complete a set. I'm a person who likes to complete a set, and judging this way how they are going to go to a system, I just need one. Yeah, I try my very best this year. Probably my friends who's working in Japan or living in Japan at the moment, I will ask him to probably help me go to the bank to get first prefix like AA. The Japanese people valued their banknotes based on their salt numbers and the first prefix. The first prefix are always expensive and difficult to find because most of it is kept in a lock safe, and like most Japanese would do that, and hopefully one day they can resell it in a high valued or pass it down to their children. Anyway, I'm trying my best to ask my friends or someone or dealers to find me a AA front and AA back like this, and hopefully I can get it in a fair price and cheap and good condition, of course. So yeah, the other significant good joy for me to buy this, able to achieve to win the bid on this one compared to any banknotes. Yeah, if you look at the in eBay as well, you can find this banknote very cheap, like about 10 ringgit, 20, it's about $20, $30. It's very cheap, in a very good condition. In a rare condition, you can get it for $5, $6 in eBay. What's so unique about this? I got this in the auction. I think nobody realized it. The description was not that clear. Is that 3 variations of this banknote because of the block number. The most cheap one that you see all out there is 300, 400 and above. Anything is 300 and 400 above, they are the most least valuable, I would say. I won't say rubbish, but the less valuable banknote for this type. The second most expensive is 200 to 299. Before I reached 300, 200 to 299. So this is 233, and the serial number was very luckily close. That is going to be a very beautiful number. Only if the 8 is changed to a 7, I will have 777, 222. Damn, that would be a great number. And if this 2, well, I don't want it to be 3, this 2 has to remain as 2. But anyway, the block number, whatever it is, from 200 to 299 is the second most expensive one. And the most difficult to find and the most expensive one is block number 1, 2, 199. Those are even rare because those were issued much more earlier, and they're more frequently used in Japan at that time. Now, reasonably to say that is probably is because the quality of the paper they print. Japanese papers, Japanese paper they're using the currency. It's not like a normal currency paper use. If I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm not if I'm wrong. Okay, correct me. I don't mind being corrected. This is all my future self finding new knowledge. Sharing is caring in knowledge in matters of collectors. Is this paper is made of mulberry, if I'm not mistaken, mulberry trees. So those fibers from mulberry trees are prone to insects. Insects love mulberry trees actually, like silkworms and so forth. So if the banknote is made from with the content of the mulberry trees, uh, the fiber, they are prone to be damaged by insects or even small insects that you might not see. That is why they are very difficult to find in a very good condition, especially uncirculated banknotes. I'll try to speed up now. I don't like it, but I talk about the Japanese more lengthy because it's my own personal collection. Moving on to the next collection is that I got it is Oman. This one is Oman 5 Rial, year 2000. I was stunning because I love the color. The color of it is superb. Normally, if I see any color, they have French print influence. Mostly those French colonies, they will have something like this kind of color. I would call it a French print. If in my view, I call it a French print. But judge to say that I love this banknote how it looks like at the back actually rather than front. Front looks regular and modern, having a silver label here as a security thread, overprint with the letter 5, Arabic letter 5. This is Oman, year 2000. Next, it's also Oman. This is 1 Rial, 1995. Much more simplistic, much more simple. But knowing Oman, the current currency, the strength value is stronger than US dollar. $1 Rial is more than $1. You have to pay probably $2 or something like that. But yeah, other than Oman, you're another country that is more stronger than US dollar based on value wise. It's like Kuwait. Kuwait is another country that is very strong. But anyway, this is Oman 1 Rial. Color wise, very gray tone type. So it shows progress, development, and as the country's achievement. Culture wise, so artistry of the culture. I just recently got this note. Haven't studied it properly. What is history? What is the meaning? I didn't study that. That is for me to do that later. But for me, is to log in my personal record that I've got this today. Okay, next is will be Qatar. I was very lucky. I got this for a very cheap price. Normally, if I can go, this is quite current. You can go and exchange to I can go to the exchange market to get this one. 10 Rial. For about 10 ringgit actually. But I got this for 6 ringgit. So in this kind of condition, uncirculated, I think is worth my bang of the money. 6 ringgit, unfolded, unused, unmolested, is I would say the word unmolested. 10 Rial. Previously I started collecting Qatar denomination and also Oman denomination and also Saudi denomination, is because my family, one of my family members actually went there, and then they as a vacation or holiday over there, and then when I came back they gave me some of those banknotes I have. It's quite bad, it's quite used, but inspired me because of the patterns they use. Look at this. Because they are predominantly Islamic countries, so they use a lot of flora motifs than faunas, because creating life in artwork is quite sensitive to Islamic teaching and Islamic laws if you are practiced as a Muslim. So the only way to express artistic or cultural value, especially like this, is geometrical shapes, and the way they play the geometrical shape and the Arabic calligraphies makes it interesting to present as a banknote. Now, the purpose of the banknote is not because of its value, it's because how it was designed and how it was made, and that's one of the profound that I like about Arabic's banknotes. Moving on, my collection is People's Republic of China, 1 yuan, 1960. Now actually I have two of these. They are near uncirculated. One of it is this one. Is actually have the watermark is different. I don't know whether you can see. It. Yeah, you see that? This is considered as a old Chinese coin. The watermark is actually old Chinese coin. This is much more harder to find and rare. Many people don't know how to identify unless you look through this, but there's another way. If you use Chinese catalog book, they'll tell you which serial number, basically which Roman numericals holds this kind of banknotes, which is a very small number. I noticed in the catalog this is a very small portion number holding this few serial numbers here that carries that kind of watermark. It's actually in between the beginning and the end. Majority of the banknotes carries watermarks that is star. See that? It carries a star type of watermark. See that? Star type. Yeah, you see? There's a star. And then if you see back this one, it's like a old coin 5. It's not a star. You see that? It's not a star. So after discovering this number just by looking the number, I was very lucky that I have this one, because the bidding was that thought is they're going to be cheap, like this one. This one with the watermark star, open star as they call it, is relatively cheap. It's about 10 ringgit. It's a bank buck of $3, $4 kind of thing. But for a good, decent uncirculated like this one, I would say $10 is quite good. And I noticed this one, the print, there is a smear ink. This is actually a logo smear from this one, and there are a few smears at the bottom here. I don't call it bleed, I think it's smeared by the roller of the printing. It does happen, but many of the collectors, they don't consider this as an error note. So it is not a proper error note in my view. It's error, yeah, maybe it's a human error, a mechanic error, but is it profoundly error? No, it's not a proper error to me. So you don't get the value price. So this one was very lucky. I got this one. No one knows, and was bet on it to $10. That's about 35 ringgit to me, which is cheap, relatively cheap. Because I saw the same condition, or slightly better condition than my one that I just got. They're selling around 600 ringgit, 700 ringgit. That kind of price, and I bought it for around 40 ringgit at least, for a large, plus all the shipping and tax that I have to pay. It's worth it. 40 bucks, market price currently 600 ringgit. What is to unfair. Alright, moving on is my final piece of collection. Not say final piece of collection. The Central Bank for Trinidad and Tobago, the older version. I have the newer version in my album. So I also have the 20. I have the 20. I have the 10. I have the 5 and the 1. The only one I don't have is actually the $50. I don't have the $50. I'm still looking for the $50 one, the newer one, and the older one. And most of in my collection, I compare for Trinidad. I compare the new and the old. The newer, the current new versions, Trinidad and Tobago's banknote, the currency is all polymer, plastic. So they have the same design but a little bit modern. Most of these patterns are no longer used in polymer, but they are mostly same. They have the same symbol. They still have the bird. They have the symbol. This quite similar. The concept is still remain the same of the design concept, but most of it has been modernized. I don't have that as a new one. I will record it in the future for as a existing banknotes. Oh, and the back is this. And even the newer version is have this the central bank building, and the oil derrick. It's the same. They have it in the new one, so not much in design differences if you ask me. Next, I have got China. Earlier days China. This is a China 5 yuan, 1927. If I'm not mistaken, yeah. China Republic, the 16th year of the China Republic. If I'm not mistaken, my Chinese character is correct. It's the 16th year of the China Republic year. Okay, the 16th year of the China Republic. If you see in Gregorian calendar is November. Can you see that? November 1st, 1927. Alright. And it's printed by a America Banknote Company. Yep. Banknote has been soiled many times being used. I consider this as a fair or a good level, fair to good level. I won't say very fine. I would say it's fine, but fine to good. But I won't say higher than very fine, or forget about extremely fine, but very fine. Between fine would be the justifiable condition. This one I got it for $30, $30 relatively reasonable price, because in the market for such things you could get about $80, $60 to $80. So it's one of those rare pieces. Even if in my country this kind of banknotes are difficult to find. Probably you go to China, where this is originally printed and used in those days. Maybe a majority are there and people are kept in their home or so wherever it is. But yeah, this is the bank. No, it's very difficult to find in outside of China, especially where I'm at, outside in China. I'm in Malaysia, and not many people have this. Even in Singapore, very difficult to find. This is a bank of communication, 5 yuan. One of the interesting is to know what is the most value. It's like same thing in America. It's where it was printed. This is Santong. There's another one. It's Shanghai. They have Harbin, etc., etc. Those elusive places are like way high. Those are much more expensive. Those are thousands of dollars, because those are very limited, outskirt, and rare. These are big cities like this. It's relatively cheap, especially Shanghai. Our next collection is this one is Russian Federation. I bought this as a whole lot. Most of these banknotes are printed after 1997, but I have studied a little bit about Russian rubles. What are the valuable ones and what are not the valuable ones? Now, a lot of people forget to see it. But among all the lots I bought, this is just only $9, $10 actually, for all of this, for $10. By bidding it looks wow, fantastic. I got $10 for all of this. Hopefully it's inexpensive. Yeah, this too are more valuable. All of this is, I would say, is common. You can get one of these is already in less than 10 ringgit. Why would I say that now? I don't know whether the Gosnak bank, where the printing engraving of Russian is called Gosnak, whether they are lazy or they just no time. They don't update their design. They don't change their design. They remain the same as of 1997. If you look at those banknotes that printed since 2000, like this one, how do I know this is not printed into 1997? How do I not know? This is not printed in 1997. Although people will say, oh no, it's printed in 1997. What I've learned from the Russians, especially the collecting banknotes of Russians, is, you can see the tiny little word, if I'm not mistaken. There. Can you see that? This tiny little words right here in my thumb. This one is written in Russian, modification in 2004, revision with an R at the back, probably say revision. Basically in English, modification 2004 revised. There were 1997 notes, but those 1997 notes are more valuable and more expensive. These are quite common, so they're relatively cheap to get. But I already got this one, so I was just heartfelt disappointed. I got all of this. Basically, I got all of these notes in my collection already, but now I have extra that I don't know what to do with them. It's just, they're all the same. They have modification here, the word modification. So some of the modification probably is rare, I don't know. I just started collecting also Russian for hands off, but these ones are rare. This is the ones that I'm looking for. A good uncirculated 5 ruble without any modification. Of course, the newer they re-released this as a newer version. They stopped printing this in before 2001. They discontinued printing, and then recently in 2022 or 22, just recently last year, they started reprinting this banknote again. They reprinted it. It's still stated 1997. Everything is the same. But one smart way is they just changed any bank serial number in the front, the Russian character. If you see the one that looks like a 4 in the front, that is the recent one. That is printed last year. Those are the newer ones. Those it's very cheap. You can just get it right now in Russia for its current value of its of the market value. You know how much is ruble according to exchange. You can get that straight away, uncirculated. It's cheap. Don't spend money extra. But this one, at least this one, is actually used in 1997, printed in 1997, probably in 1997 or 1998, because those days they keep printing until they discontinued. So these are much more valuable. Uncirculated ones you can get about probably $40 to $50. I see even eBay is selling at $100 for this 5 ruble originally used in 1997 onwards, before it discontinued. This is also same, 10 rubles also was used, but this one I have a tear, so it's acceptable to me. The paper is still fine, the details of things is still there. This is I don't find any words of modification, as you can see, like these. You see difference? There's a micro words here and there's no micro words here. This one is printed during 1997, 1998, before the year 2000, before the millennia, before they changed to this. This becomes 2004, revised in 2004. So this is before 2004 to 1997. These are more expensive to get and more difficult to get, especially in a good condition. So the only valuable ones among all the $10 I bought those set is this two lots. Of this one, not much, but it is what it is. I'll see whether I have good notes. I'll keep some of those I don't have probably, and those extra ones probably I'm gonna give to my friends or relatives or even my partner in crime. She loves to collect too, but her country that she target is much more difficult and more expensive to buy. Okay, now moving on to the next one is next one is the one that I committed to start collecting. This is my first step to the United States. So this is my United States first note that I got. Bought this for $110, extra $10 from its face value of $100. Really, extra $10. The details, everything is still there. This is a series 1934. They have the other one is 1920 something. I forgot what year. 1928. Yeah, a lot of people I just realized that people telling me that 1928 is more harder to find, more valuable, and the bidding was almost the same. Probably the other one that bought 1920, the bidding was around $130, $140. It was still cheap, but I was attracted to this one because, you know, being first time, I don't know which to get or what to get, so I got this one as a collection. And what drives me to commit to this is because it's history. 1934 is the year where the Great Recession is going on. So knowing that this banknote has been passing down that year, where people were in poor, stock market crash, unemployment high, and inflation skyrocketing. Even that time they printed $500, $1,000, $10,000 banknote, which today is ridiculous to say that they are still printing that kind of amount today. Of course, the largest denomination today in the United States that printing is 100. They're not going to continue printing those big notes, but by law they're still technically valid. Technically, the 500, the 1,000, and the 10,000 on their face value is still considered legal tender. Basically, you can take that money, buy some grocery, and use that money and spend. Let's say you're spending for about $200, you pay $500 banknote, they have to give you the change of $300. By law, it's still legal tender. This is still legal tender of $100. Another interesting that I found that some people telling me is that the US the Federal Reserve seal and the serial number, the color is rare. I mean, so-called rare, interestingly rare, but knowing the prices, I don't think it's rare. It's so-called light green or lime color. Normally it's darker green. Previously was using dark green, and then they use light green, and then they use back the dark green. So there is a small quantity people printing this notes with this kind of color. So US dollar. And the other interesting is they're right here, Washington DC, and I love this. Historically, I like this man who is the man who saved the US economy, Henry Morgando Jr. I love the name actually. So much history going on in this banknote. I feel that is why I bought this one. But the design wise, yeah, they're pretty much the same. Do we consider this as error? I don't think so. To me, I don't think so. It's maybe off-centered. It can achieve, if it's an uncircular more near perfect, it will never achieve 70 because of this. It is not centered properly, the printing out. So yeah, this is the $100 I got. Alright, is 1934 A series. A series. Next one that I've got is auction is this. I pay extra $10 from its face value, so it's 20 plus 10 is equal $30. Nothing Mandela effect there, whatever it is, Mandela effect. It's $20 face value plus extra premium that I paid in the bidding, extra $10. Extra $10 to me is relatively cheap, a relatively good price to pay. But what is so good about it is actually about uncirculated. There's no fault lines, the print is still good, and the only disadvantage is the stain, coffee stain or rust stain, I don't know. That is the only disadvantage I find from this note. If it doesn't have, it probably will go $50 to $60, 3 times its face value. But what is the most important thing is I bought, which is my very first high denomination with a star or a replacement note. For America, they use stars to indicate as a replacement note. They've been using this for hundreds of years, so it's nothing new there. Most of the Commonwealth countries, like my countries, like Singapore, etc., Hong Kong, we use replacement note by having Z or the Z at the back, at the front of the prefix. Those are replacements. So for America, they use replacements as a star. So I did check in the catalog, online catalog. This is in New York. So this one is about in 1995 series. They're only a 1995 series. This one is a replacement is about 3.6 million notes are being issued. The same year for the bank reserve in Cleveland, there's a 600,000. Those are even rarer, more expensive. So to me, this is relatively huge amount. So that's why driven the price a bit lower, $30. But for me, as a first high denomination replacement note of US, I'm satisfied being the first in my collection. Next one, we go even further down, even older, is my very first that I dreamed to have one, and finally I had one. United States silver certificate, $1, 1899. 1899. This is one of the very popular. I think the Americans call it the Black Eagle, because it's simply there's an eagle and it's printed in the color black. That is why it's called Black Eagle. One thing I for sure is, compared to the notes here, in the turn of 20th century, the notes in the time before the 20th century, they were much larger. We call it a large size note. This is a smaller size note, which became the standard note of today for the United States notes. But those days they printed very large. For one reason is the engravers, the limitation of the technology. For the engraver, sorry, excuse me, I just burped. For the engravers, there are just limited capabilities for them to engrave all these designs and to create them as microscopic as possible. So the bigger the canvas, the more easier for them to work on, for those engravers and the BEP. So this one is one of the most popular ones and one of the most affordable ones. I got this for $80. Market price value, if it's judging its condition, myself judging it, not professional grading, it could be around fine to very fine condition. Fine to very fine, which according to the online, the catalogs, they're worth way more than that. Now, one thing I'm very interested is, even as the smallest denomination, the value of the dynamics of trading, selling and buying US dollars for collection and so forth, like in the conventions, like the recently in Miami, numismatics, the fun show just came out. I just observed from online where people are going there. The dynamics is that people are still buying and selling very high frequency for these notes and the rest of the uh, US currencies, and by doing so it keeps the prices of these banknotes up. You should compare to, if you compare to this, or even probably the old China banknote like this, it doesn't rise compared to this. This is 1899. This is what, just recently, okay, this is just what, 1927, and the prices and compared to the edition, they're almost the same grade. But the thing is, this is much easier to find because there are many collectors are selling and buying. The frequency is high. This is very rare. You have to find somebody who's having it, and knowing it, and able to sell it to you. It's difficult to find, but yet the price is low. Nobody able to judge because there is not enough frequency of buy and sell compared to the US dollar. Even the older ones, at least there is a dynamic of buying and selling. So in investment, as an investment mindset, the US dollar currency are much more valuable. You buy now $80, guarantee you will sell it at a higher price. It doesn't go there. It's basically like a real estate. It's like real estate. You buy it, then you keep it for a while, you resell it, and then you make a profit. Same goes to this. And compared to a lot of the principle of all the rare commodity banknotes or currencies out in the whole world, the principle is if you buy it for investment, you need to keep it for at least 10 to 15 years. 10 to 15 years to see it is fruition. You earn double the profit. I have some banknotes that I kept since 2004, and today I just last month I just sent it for the grading. Probably I'll get it back in a couple of weeks because there is a in-house. I asked my friend. I sent it to my friend to do grading. They are doing it in Hong Kong. The PMG. They had a convention there, and they are able to bring grade it in 1 week, and then encapsulate it in 2 weeks time. So I'm gonna get it probably next month once I have the free time. But again, American banknotes are quite lucrative for investment to buy and sell at a shorter time span. Maybe 5 years. You can sell back this at $120 to $130. I got it for $80. You make a profit of $40, $30 in less than that. It's good actually, investment, and it's fast compared to others that you have to wait for 10 years to mature or like 15 years to mature. So one state rule, I think the advantages in the US dollar where you collect slash investment is very good. I will give a good thumbs up for this one for American currency. But for me, this is my very first one. When I have enough money, I think I'm going to sell this one and buy a better condition for my collection. Now this one, I've heard, this is typical this series, there are 3 types of variations. One is a vertical, saying the series of 1899 here. The first variation is above the serial number. They will have that series 1899, and the second version or variation is below the serial number, is written series of 1899, and this is the one I had. Is the most common, and the third variation is on the vertical side here, same as goes here. So I like the design. Actually, it's very beautiful. It moves me. And having 2 portraits rather than seeing one portrait, the regular one, seeing 2 portraits, Abraham Lincoln and President I forgot this person's name, Ulysses, if I'm not mistaken. Grant, Ulysses Grant, both presidents, and it's having this portrait like this and having the eagle in the center is very beautiful. I think the symbolic of this is better to me. It truly represents America. It truly represents the people, rather than idolizing the president. Of course, the president leads the country and build the country up according to its vision. But to me, having people as a portrait is, especially when your principle of the country is democracy, democratic republic, you know, be by the people, for the people, with the people, that kind of principle, the banknote should illustrate in those kind of methods. Like China, People's Republic of China, when they issue out the series in 1980s, they represents all of it is in people. I did say that last time in my last video, my first video. Retract back to that video. They have used people to represent the multiracial of their country. It is the country for the people. So for America, they have that kind of principle, and this banknote does show that. Of course, the presidents lead the country; they are important, but the main center is the capital city, the eagle, the national symbol. I think those days, when the engravers were designing and thinking how to create, and the concept of it is very beautiful, and I like this one actually, and it's very popular. Next one that I have is a national currency. I got this for sorry, I didn't get it under. I got $92 for this one. Condition is quite bad. I think they have tape stain here and here and here and here. They have stain here. Not so great there, but yeah, to me this is my first note, so I bought mostly all the small denominations. $1 national currency. This one is printed for the use in Kansas City, Missouri. $1. I haven't studied much, but I did heard that this is a common one. They have a rare one is if this is a red color, red seal, red serial number. Those are the very rare, because the number of prints and the time they print is quite short. So yeah, this is Kansas City. Now of course, if you use the catalog free book or any US catalog books on cataloging all this American banknotes, there are more details breakout from this banknotes, because to determine the value of the currency is through what city they were printed on and used. If it's Kansas City, I'm not sure. Could be a lot, but definitely compared to New York City, New York City will be having more because it's a more urban city. The smaller the town area being issued out, the rarer they are, because the community or the population that are so small, they don't need so much number of banknotes to print. So they printed a limited number of banknotes for enough for the population use. So in collecting sense, those are more difficult to find because the quantities are lesser compared to a larger city. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't say anything whether Kansas City is rare because of small quantity or is a small city. But here in a city, to me, I think it's going to be a very large quantity, so it's very cheap. But this kind of national currency, they're quite high price. I look at the catalog for such condition, probably I can get 120, but eBay is selling ridiculous price, so I'm not trusting eBay's price, because I only see eBay prices that are already sold, not selling or currently trying to sell, because they're currently trying to sell means they are too high. It ain't too high, ain't nobody buying it, as America would say. That's what America would say. It ain't too high, ain't no one buying it. So I only look at eBay, those historic moments that is sold, someone already bought, on what price, and it's still relatively very high. I see a worse condition than my one. Somebody bought it for around $150 before shipping costs and all that. So for me, getting this for $90, it's a cinch. I get nearly a 50% discount there. Okay, so this one is Kansas City, $1, 1914. The next one I got is $2, legal tender $2, 1917. We're going backwards even further in time. These notes, those days the red seals are common. Not too bad. When I look at the picture in the auction, it looks worse. I thought normally is when you see the images, the online images, they're gonna look good because they scan nicely or what, and then when you're gonna get it back, actually getting it from the mail, from the parcel, it's gonna be even worse or ugly. But compared to the photos I've seen online, when I bid for this one, I bid for $81. I won it. And when I look at it and compare this, the actual one looks even better than the photo. The photo one has a lot of crease and red line and the dark color stain mark. But looking at the actual one, okay, there are lines here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 lines, fault lines. Okay, pretty much alright. But the motifs and all the stain was quite less, just quite a little bit darker tone. Does not affect the details of the state capitol, on the Capitol Hill. The details are still there. You can see a horse here, dragging it, and behind is a bus. Those days locomotive is the horse is the one that pulls the bus. It's a public transport. The details are there. They're not lost. Those are the conditions of banknotes that I love to, or willing to buy, or willing to get. Not getting it for the sake of getting it. That is very rare. Can't see anything. That's terrible. There's no point of appreciating if you can't see anything what other details are. So this one, the details are still fine and still good. And those notes are quite large. Those days the notes are quite big, and they fold quite many times to put into their small little pockets. But yeah, this is series $2. As we can see, Jefferson, the United States president, the third United States president, elected president. Back, a lot of motif of $2. There's a lot of motif of $2 here, United States of America, $2. There's a lot of pattern design here. Now those days they have to make the design like this because they need to counter counterfeiters. Here is all written here by law, and the punishment and the sentence if you are captured to find that you are holding a possession of a counterfeit or plate counterfeit or machine counterfeit. If they caught you having it, you're gonna go to jail. And if I'm not mistaken, if I read here, it's 15 years. If I go close here, it says sentence of a fine of 5,000 or 15 years of imprisonment with hard labor or both. So they literally, those days, they write in the penalties. It's a felony to possess a counterfeit, to alter the original banknote, or to create counterfeit notes, or having possession is a felony. And they literally written the laws here for people to read and know the consequences. Okay, and of course, when I say it again, the motifs are so beautiful. It's almost like Rococo style, a Baroque style. It has a movement of the florals, design patterns. They have to. It's not just only beautiful design. It's also to create more difficult on the counterfeiters. The more creative, the more complex design, the more difficult for the counterfeiters at those days to counterfeit. Those days it's easy to counterfeit banknotes because there's not much of security other than you lie the security in the hands of the engravers, making all these patterns as only few people can do it with the skills, so making counterfeiting more difficult. There's no silver thread, there's no hologram or even watermark was not even applied. So this banknote is literally under the sunlight is nothing, and the light is nothing, but its design as it is and looking at it is beautiful. I love this banknotes, American banknotes, those old days. It really does. And the last banknote I would like to say that I've received today from my collection. This is the United States legal tender, $1. Good condition, pretty much as good as you can see. Pretty much as good condition, not bad. You can notice here, of course, the better the condition the note that you get, the more details you can see. So the better compared to the $2, okay, they're supposed to see all the fiber color lines here and here, but because of its poor condition right now, this is about good to fair. The condition of this is you can't see it. This one is fine to very fine. Okay, I would say it's more towards just at the area of fine, around 10 to 15 for if it's graded. The better they are, the more details you can see. So now at least I can see it here. There are a lot of different colors, blue, red here. There are two sides here have colored. The reason is those are for the paper security. You are going to beat the counterfeiters. Those is, I think this is Christopher Columbus, if I'm not mistaken, or as the Puritans. Those days they put a motive, have a meaning, the founding of America, the victories of some of the battles, and so forth, etc. And to me, all this while, in United States, they put the smallest, most humble denomination, the most where everyone can access to get it is the $1. It's the $1, and they all put their first president of the United States, George Washington, the most important person, the greatest leader who fought in the revolution for America's independence, and of being the first president of the United States, will always be immortalized in $1. I heard that the $1 today, the design can never be changed, including probably the $2. But I do know the fact is the $1 today, whatever the time is from now to the future, that $1 cannot be changed. The design has to remain the same. Ever wonder why the $1 has never changed the design compared to the $5, $10, the $20, the $50, and the $100? They changed to a bigger portrait, and now the newer version is a more colorful, like there's blue, purple kind of rainbow color. They reintroduced back like the rainbow colors onto the banknote, and the portrait has no longer portrait. It's a big image of the president's portrait with no frame. It's frameless. Alright, we call it big portraits. All changed except the $1. The $1 did not change because I've heard. Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. The Congress, United States Congress, have written an act that the $1 cannot be changed without the consent of the Congress. And currently, at the state today, that $1 cannot be changed without the approval from the Congress. Compared to the higher denomination of $5 and above, they can modify it, but the $1 they can't modify it. So probably that's the reason. But anyhow, correct me if I'm wrong. That is the reason why I put it in the YouTube for everyone to see and help me and give me comments, telling me is it right or is it wrong. If it's wrong, please tell me and explain to me. I'm here to learn and I'm here to share. And also in the meantime, it helps me to remember what I've got on that day itself. So I got all this. That's it. I got all these banknotes today from my mail in January 18, 2000, 2024. I'm expecting another banknote coming in that I've already won. It's also another US dollar. I'm not gonna say it here because it will ruin the film and surprise. I want to see the condition first. One note from there, one note from China, which I'm still sought after finishing my collection on China, and one from the United States. There are two notes, and another one I just bought is the People's Republic of China. They issue a new banknote 20 yuan for the celebration of the Lunar New Year. It's the Year of the Dragon, so the market is very hot at the moment to buy that banknote. The price every day going up $3 or 3 ringgit at my sense. So every day the price is going up. Luckily I bought it on the day they issued, so it was very cheap. So even I got the notes by a few days later or in the near future, hopefully before the Chinese New Year comes in, before the Lunar New Year comes in, I'll get that note, and the price is already doubled or tripled. That's how valuable and how sought after the China brand. You look at the eBay currently, for the 20 yuan Year of the Dragon 2024 is skyrocketing high. They also issue coin, 10 yuan coin, China Year of the Dragon, 10 yuan. I don't collect coins, so I'm not so focused on getting there. But the banknote is the one I'm trying to get the bank in a sense. And hopefully by next week I would get my graded banknotes that I have graded, and will be presented here also as into my catalog of my archives here, my catalog of my things, and then also my new stuff, new collection. I will record it into the YouTube as my place to remember all my old things in case. So yeah, that's all for today for my banknotes. That's all for today. That's it. So I would like to say good night and see myself again very soon for the next. Thank you. Bye bye.